Welcome to the Fire Sprinkler Podcast with Chris and Logan.
Subscribe.
Hey everybody, thanks for tuning into this episode of the Fire Sprinkler Podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, hello. On this episode, I have Devin O'Leary from JCI, and we are going to talk about the RM-2 Riser Manifold. Devin, how's it going today in this day and age?
Believe it or not, in Rhode Island, where I'm located, it is freezing cold and was snowing this morning. So not the greatest day, but warm climates in the horizon for sure. Looking forward to it as well.
Southwestern Ontario is where I'm from here up in Canada, and it was warm t-shirt weather. The kids were playing outside in snow 2-3 weeks ago. We woke up yesterday with 4 inches of snow, which was almost gone by lunch. Yep. But I mean, it's a roller coaster of snow. Is everybody keeping their hands clean in Rhode Island? Everybody's keeping safe and healthy?
Right, yeah, family's safe. Work's been good. Back in the office, as you can see, which is nice. Starting to get back to that normal lifestyle, and actually reopening the training center here that I manage for some live trainings coming up soon. So which we're really looking forward to. It's been a long haul for the last 18 months now. So.
Are you guys going to have any kind of restrictions in place for attending the in-person training? Are you guys going to require the shots? Are you stuff like that?
Not so much the shots, just more or less the getting COVID tested beforehand, and then the trainers that are in contact with people that work on my staff will have to get tested after, just as a fail safe, and more of a just being ultra safe about it. I mean, which I agree with completely, but I don't want to see anybody get sick. But I also want to keep my people intrigued about their workload and not be doing virtual trainings for the rest of their lives. You know, it's nice to have. It's nice to have that. They signed up to do in-person training and live training and be in front of customers, and they've been talking to a computer like we are now for a long time. Yeah.
It's been nice, but I can't wait to get back into the regular swing of things, which is, I mean, for years, Canada was always looking over the neighbor looking over the fence at the crazy nonsense that's going on over in the States. And now it's been kind of backwards with all of my American friends are looking over at us like, what the hell are you guys doing over there? You guys still can't do this. You still can't do this. You still, your bars aren't open. Your restaurants aren't open. What the hell?
Yeah, that's one thing that has definitely laxed from that perspective. The restaurants are open. The bars are open. Kids are in school. Thank the Lord. Because I'd really be losing my mind if my kids weren't in school. So
I've got 2 boys doing the online school upstairs right now. So there's 2 things that may put a pause to the podcast, and that's if the door opens and they need help with math, which I probably won't be able to help them with, or if my pager goes off.
Unless we're doing dry system pitching, you may be able to help, right, with that math.
That's right. I could probably get the math going for that. Hydraulic calculations, but I don't know if grade 3s and 2s are doing hydraulic calculations yet. I think that's a 4. I think that's grade 4 to get into that.
Get up there, yeah.
Awesome. Are you guys planning any kind of trade shows or anything coming up this year?
Not that I'm aware of now. I mean, I sit on the NFPA 25 committee. I don't know how many trade shows are going on in the world. I know 25 committees are still all virtual meetings. It's
Hmm.
which is another thing that's hard to deal with, sitting in 6-hour-long meetings a day, looking at public inputs for NFPA 25, and it's invigorating. Let's leave it at
Yeah,
that.
absolutely. It's got to be something to, the good thing, well, I won't say it's a good thing. It's kind of a pain sometimes is when when you're doing the virtual meetings and you're looking for an opinion, nobody is shy in a virtual meeting, right? So everybody gets, you really get the honest opinion in a
Yep, for
virtual
sure.
meeting. The heater was going to kick on in the garage. Good thing I stopped it. So getting into the actual topic of the podcast, the RM2 Riser Manifold is your newest kind of riser assembly that you guys have out there now. What was kind of the thought process and the development behind getting something like this to the market?
Yeah, I mean, I think the whole entire assembly integrated together, what you see other manufacturers doing now with the check valve, with the control valve, with the flow switch, was something that was needed. It was wanted. It was feedback from our customers. People like that type of assembly. Our original RM riser manifold, the RM1, which is still available, that just didn't have the check valve integrated. It didn't come with a butterfly valve. It just came as the test and drain as well, along with the flow switch. So it was more just improving on what we had and
Yep.
putting a product out there that the customers wanted. Really, it was that's kind of where we landed.
And kind of how long, I'm assuming you guys got everything listed. There's some things in there that if you look on social media, there's always the arguments with how come you can do this and I can't, blah, 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 listed assemblies. But how long did the process take and what kind of feedback did you get in the development process between this is our idea for creating something and actually getting it out there to market?
Yeah, I mean, there was some challenges with this valve, this assembly, mainly because of intellectual property that other companies own.
Right.
So you have to work around those, and that is the most difficult thing when you're designing a new product. Excuse me, and trying to also satisfy the customers with what
Right.
they want, right? So, I mean, there was some decent development time. I'd say this from cradle to grave was an 18-month to 2-year project. Just getting everything integrated, everything listed, and then working your way around IP to where you're not inflicting on another person's patent or another company's patent, and you can't. That's something you can't do. Obviously,
Right.
lawsuits or royalties come after
That's right. Yeah.
that.
And it seems like that's kind of like the name of the game. That's kind of the way everybody's going now. It's good to see that you were taking customer feedback as far as a direction to go with ease of installation, speed of installation, which is kind of the way everything in fire protection is going now. Because the quicker you can get things done, the cheaper you can get things done, the more likely they are to put sprinkler into different buildings, right?
For sure.
Which is obviously what everybody's out there looking for, right?
Yep, it's very
Um,
true.
so I think the big question that everybody's going to have, and it's the question that everybody has with every riser manifold, is the proximity of the flow switch to the isolation valve and the test and drain.
Right,
Um,
and that is a question I field fairly often. I'm sorry if I interrupted you. I thought you were done
nope.
with your question there. Yeah, that's a question we field often. And one of the benefits of being a manufacturer or an OEM is we have to go through that a process of approvals. We have the opportunity to test and both internally and externally, to verify that a product is going to be able to do what it does, and say what it says it can do, it does. And as an installer or a fitter or somebody out there in the field, you look at that flow switch and you look at the proximity of it to where the other parts and pieces of that assembly lie, and your
Mhm.
first thought process is, this is going to cause turbulence. I'm going to get false flow readings. It's not going to be adequate, but that's not the case. When, like I said, as an OEM, we have the opportunity to do our own internal testing, to go to the agencies and use and leverage those agencies in a way to say, hey, we're taking all these products, we're proving that it can do what it says we can do, no matter where the proximity to the flow switch is to where the outlets are. And they're not going to let us approve a product or get a listing on a product if it's not going to work the way we say it does. But again, I completely understand the question, because like yourself, I'm a field guy too. I came from that world, and the first thought because as in the seat I sit in, I get involved with some of the MPI
Right.
projects. I have a very large voice of customer base up here because I'm teaching people that use these products on a daily basis. So that input is very valuable when it goes into a new product development that we do here in Cranston. At the engineering and research and development site. So my input is valuable to some of these meetings, and that was I brought that to the point, and that was the response they gave me was, hey, if we can test it out and prove that it can do what it says it can do, then we're at no fault, and this is a perfectly valid assembly as a listed product.
Absolutely. As long as you're not changing what you guys have done with the product, the arrangement, the orientation, stuff like that, the spaces between the distance, there's no issue with using a listed assembly as it's
Correct.
provided. It's the same thing with, say, taking a backflow preventer and putting an elbow in between the check valves and the first isolation valve, right?
Yep.
You're changing the way it was intended to be installed, which, don't get me wrong, you do see that sometimes,
Sure.
where people change the things, but you take your listing and kiss it goodbye, right?
Yes, sir. That's very true. But yeah, I mean, and I think that's a question we're going to field for a long time. I don't think
Absolutely.
that question is going to go away. I think it's a very valid question, and I had a good feeling you might have asked it today, so I came a little bit prepared for that one.
That's good. That was, I mean, it was a pretty thorough answer. I don't think you
Yeah.
left any stone unturned in regards to that. It was awesome. And I think you're going to probably see stuff like that with people, social media, with podcasts, with the way the industry is kind of moving fast and education's out there for everybody. People are going to constantly be asking questions like this as new products are developed. People are going to question them because that's just the nature of everybody. Everybody wants to, everybody wants to catch somebody in doing something that's incorrect. They want to kind of show how smart, look how smart I am. I caught this. It's kind of nature, right? Especially in the fire protection industry.
And
It's
every
a,
once in a while they do. Every
yeah,
once in a while
absolutely.
they do point something out. I mean, we've made changes. Part of the change for that RM2 was, I mean, this is a perfect segue into more benefits to the new design. Our RM1, the riser manifold, used that three-way ball valve as a test and drain, and
Yep.
it was off in one position, test and then drain in a third position, and it was a ball valve style valve or a setup, and it leaked. I mean, we're not going to try to hide that. There was
Right.
issues with it because in a real world scenario, when you're installing this valve in a fire protection system, the grit and the grime that comes through those pipes over time will eventually wear on that seat of the ball valve where it
Yep.
closes, and you cause places for it to leak. So we took that feedback, we ran with that feedback from our customers. We fixed it with the RM2 by installing more of a globe style valve with a seated valve position. So it's actually compressing down on something rather than a ball valve style valve. So that's just a perfect example of taking customer feedback or taking feedback from people out there using this product and changing something for our next iteration of the valve.
Right. And speaking of kind of the operation of the valve, that's a pretty good segue into the operation of the TD2, which is
Yes.
your kind of new release of your test and drain type assembly.
Yep. So it's one style is obviously your drain style, your main drain,
Yep.
which is going to be your drain side, and then your test is going to be an orifice dependent. It's going to have an orifice plate in there, and dependent on the K factor you choose when ordering, that's going to be the restriction in there to satisfy doing a inspector's test connection style test of a wet system. One thing that's pretty cool about that test assembly is it can be spun in 360 degrees. So if you do need to change the orientation of it in regards to maybe another piece of pipe's in the way or the handle's going to hit something, every part of that assembly is on a grooved connection, so it can be rotated in any direction it needed to be at 360 degrees.
As long as you're not disassembling and rearranging, I'm assuming the isolation valve, everything like that, because that what I would assume would take away from the listing of your
Correct.
device, right? As long as
Correct.
it's installed.
In accordance with
Valve check.
the technical data sheet. How's that for an answer?
That's and you're gonna get one with it anyways.
Yeah, as long as it's installed in accordance with our instructions, the manufacturer's instructions, then there's no issue with how you orient or any of the parts and pieces.
What we spoke a little bit about the listing. What was the kind of listing process that you guys had to go to, and who is it listed by right now? Is it UL, ULC, FM, the whole
It
nine
is
yards right now?
it is UL listed and FM approved components. So everything is UL FM approved components up to 300 psi.
Okay.
And actually in May of this year, so next month, there's a plan to add an additional assembly piece to this, and that would be a flex hose for your drain. So you'll be able to take a flex hose from the drain, and that'll be part of this offering as well.
Okay. Are you guys finding a lot of people are using the flexible pipe connections for drains and stuff like that?
I don't know about so much for drains. We just know that the flexible hoses in general are liked very much so across the industry, and so we're trying to get into that field a little bit with some of our products. For
Right.
sure.
How long is this valve? Because I know it's not like this isn't a release being released today for the podcast kind of episode. How long has it been out, and what's kind of the general feedback you've been getting from people?
It's been out. It's got to be close to almost 2 months or a month and a half, I
Yeah.
would say. I'm really not exactly sure the exact release date, but feedback's been good so far. They like the adjustability of it. Like I said, being able to rotate it or change the directions of all the parts and pieces of the assembly. One of the other pieces to that TD2, the test and drain part of the assembly, they built in a pressure relief valve,
Right.
which just goes right to drain.
Now, is that built into the components, or is it a removable, replaceable piece?
It's built in.
Okay.
Built into the component. It has a visible pressure readings on the external of it, so you can see what you're setting at. Just use a hex head of an Allen wrench to adjust it, and you can set it wherever you want, which people seem to like. I mean, you need to have the pressure relief valve per NFPA 13, so
Yeah.
it has to be there whether you like it or not. And if we can integrate it into the assembly, and then also have it drain into the drainage of the that's already connected to the valve, you're killing two birds with one stone, and you're not making a mess or having to repipe for a drain for that. Or like, for example, the RM1, which is still available, but they have a external, and you just have a copper tube for the pressure relief valve that just goes to drain wherever it needs to go. So you're piping that itself.
What what kind of time savings are you getting a feedback like this is the way that everybody's going with things, and that's, I'm assuming, kind of the reason you guys have gone to this. Are you seeing major cost savings by, instead of people ordering all the material and assembling it themselves?
So let me just clarify something really quickly. I don't get involved with much cost or pricing at all, and just in my
Okay.
role, I don't. I'm actually told to stay away from it a little bit because. But regardless, just feedback from the customer is yeah. I mean, essentially, you could take two group connections and put them together, and that whole assembly's in line and it's installed. I mean, because you can order it as one assembly. There's a groove connector at the top, groove connector at the bottom, install. I mean, from a time perspective, it's not that long. So
Right.
there's obviously savings from our previous product to what's currently offered now, because you're going to put a check valve on our RM1. You have to maybe install the pressure relief valve. You have to install the control valve. So it didn't come as that full assembled product. So from us, sure, we're definitely seeing a time savings from that.
Right. Awesome. So what's kind of the next, do you have anything as far as RM3s, RM4s, RM5s? What's next on this kind of pre-assembled assembly that you're going to get out here?
I wish I knew. It's being only a month and a half old. I don't think they're ready to throw this one to the birds yet. We're
Famous
gonna
last
let
word.
this one. We're gonna let this one ride for a little while. I'm sure there'll be some very sharp eyes looking at feedback to see if we can change anything or maybe make some upgrades to it. So I think that's maybe one thing, but outside of that, the RM1 is still available. The RM2 is still here. The RM2, just so you are aware, is just commercial product. There is no
Okay.
residential, so you can't use it in a residential application yet. You can still use the RM1, and there's the RM1 commercial as well. So we have the three offerings: the commercial and residential RM1, and then the commercial RM2.
So it's not listed for 13D or 13R as of right now.
As of right now, no, and that's something that could come down the pipeline in the near future, I'm sure.
Right.
If they ever decide to get rid of the RM1, which I'm not sure, I don't have any inclination that they will, but
Yeah.
if they ever decide to replace it completely, they're going to need to have something to replace the residential one, because residential markets are big. So
it's big right now. It's essentially like we're a small family business, and being in Ontario with the lockdowns and the shutdowns of construction, it's kind of like whenever the premier wakes up and sees a shadow, he's got a different idea for how he's going to handle things. The residential market has kept us going, getting into the condos and stuff like that when we did, using the RM1 in those applications as well.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
one of our go-tos.
Absolutely. So I mean, I think there will sure be some upgrades or added listings to it, but from a new product perspective, I don't think we're going to see the RM3 for quite some time.
Nothing, no sneak peeks of anything new right now. All right, I'll keep that in mind. Awesome. Is there anything else that you think anybody else should know about, differences, extras in this product, benefits of this product as opposed to anything else out there that you want to discuss?
I will say one thing. I think it just goes to the integrity of this Johnson Controls Tyco, this company, and the real pride we take in putting out a good product for our customers. And that would be that I mentioned earlier, we have the internal testing capabilities, the external testing capabilities of our products, because for those of you that aren't familiar with the research and development facility that the training site is on, it also is the home to all the engineers that are developing the products for the Tyco product line. It's a huge facility, and the engineering facility has many areas where we can do that internal testing that UL does, that they require us to do, or FM.
Right.
And one thing we did is we went above and beyond with our product quality testing, and we actually did some long-term cycle testing of the test and drain assembly, because it was really the only new piece. The control valve we had, the check valve we had, the flow switch was there, so the test and drain was that new additive to the assembly. And we actually did some testing, one being a long-term cycle test, where we just pressurized it with the dirtiest water we could find, even to the point where we put sand in it as well. And we just opened and closed and cycled it. And over the process of about 7 or 8 months, it cycled 3 times a day, and they never had leaks. And it just I shouldn't say never. We didn't have any leaks. If that doesn't mean it will never leak. We didn't have any leaks in our observing from our testing. And that is something that just goes above and beyond what the FM and UL standards require you to do. So it's just something I feel that was very valuable to pass on to the people, to know that we're not only doing what the agencies are requiring us to do, we're going a little bit further and making sure that we're putting out a product that's going to be efficient, it's going to work exactly how you want it to, and it's not going to cause you hardships after you install it. And we learned from what we've done in the past with the leaking valve of the RM1 or other products that may have had some bad feedback. We try to take that feedback and put it to our day-to-day use and put out a better product at the end of the day.
Awesome. The testing facility is something on my, I'll call it my sprinkler bucket list, to get down to Rhode Island and check the place out and do a little tour and hopefully spill some water, depending on what's going on that day.
We have plenty of water to spill, that's for sure.
Awesome. Devin, it's always awesome to talk to you. If anybody has any other questions, are they able to reach out to you directly for questions, or would they just call the JCI Technical Services?
Yeah, you can reach out to myself directly, JCI Technical Services. I mean, if it's a field installation problem, or if it's something that you're dealing with, our tech services team is the one you're going to want to go to. But I mean, I work directly with the tech services team daily, so I'm always here to help. I'm not a salesperson. I don't get involved with any sale. I'm doing here for the technical side of this product and supporting our customers in a way to make them comfortable with using it and comfortable with buying it at the same time.
Awesome, Devin. Always great talking to you on the podcast. Awesome to have you on the video and actually see you face to face. Hopefully towards the end of the year, if you're going to any of the NFSA trade shows, I have full intentions on, if I got to tunnel through the border to get to the trade shows at the end of the year, that's what I'll be doing.
Awesome, Chris. Thank you so much for having me. Anytime you want me to come back, I'd be more than happy to do so.
Anytime you want to talk sprinkler, I'm available.
All right, man.
Hey everyone, this episode of the Fire Sprinkler Podcast is done. If you liked this episode, leave a review, comment, or hop over to my social media pages and let me know. Just search Fire Sprinkler Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or LinkedIn. Don't forget to hashtag Fire Sprinkler Podcast and anything you think I should know about or see. If you have any suggestions for future episodes of the Fire Sprinkler Podcast, Email info@firesprinklerpodcast.com. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time. Take care.